Merry Christmas. Hooples. Meow. Just want to talk about the flu that's going around at the moment. The World Health Organization is taking it very seriously, and we're doing a few things that work, but not a lot. There are a few cases in the GTA. We don't have any in our hospital, and we're keeping an eye on it. It doesn't appear to be a severe infectious pandemic at this point, so I don't think we need to overreact. But at the same time, it is concerning. The world is due for a flu outbreak that will kill quite a lot of people. So me and Kitty are just doing what we normally do at work, but being a little bit extra cautious in terms of masking and hand washing and not taking too many risks. But it's been an interesting week for the news. So as you can see, Canada is reporting that we are, in fact, having a spike of cases. There's not real news out of the United States as yet. Apparently you guys aren't experiencing any flu outbreaks.
The killer bug is now striking the front line of defence. Doctors, nurses and healthcare workers now make up a quarter of all victims. The number of victims expected to triple within weeks. Despite government assurances it's under control, doctors are no longer willing to hide their grave fears.
If there's any further outbreak of cases in the territory, I'm afraid that the public system will not able to help.
The Doctors' Union recommending drastic moves to deal with the epidemic. They say all businesses should be shut down for a fortnight to stop the infection spreading from person to person in the workplace. Tourist numbers dropping off dramatically as paranoia grows.
I still feel like people are spitting on me and that people are trying to make me sick.
It's believed contamination fears have turned a cruise ship around. The World was heading to Asia, but the ship's captain brought the vessel back to Brisbane. Macquarie Bank is one that set up a special quarantine office for workers returning from Asia so that they don't infect local staff. The head of the World Bank is warning that a prolonged outbreak could ruin economies in the Asia region. Fear of how bad the problem might become is clear.
That we're not dealing with just a blip on the radar screen, but as Dr. Gerberding says, we're not really sure where it's going to go because we are truly in the middle of the evolution of an epidemic.
Baton 10 News.
As we all know, most of the clusters at the moment are in Asia, China and Vietnam and Singapore. They've probably got, from what I can tell, about a couple of thousand cases, and they've had about 4 or 5, maybe 10 deaths that are directly attributable to whatever type of virus or bacteria this current flu is. And people are still looking at exactly what the causation is, and we're trying to figure it out. As yet, there is definitely no vaccine, no treatment, other than great preventative nursing care. So I do encourage you to watch the videos on hand washing and quarantining and putting a face mask on and off properly. Those skills are not something you should learn on the job.
Passengers coming from Toronto by Air Canada will arrive in this lounge. From here they will pass to the medical staff standing over there, and they will be checked for fever by an ear checker, an ear thermometer. If the fever will be above 38, they will be put in isolation in one of the places over there. If they don't have any fever, they'll go straight ahead and the buses will pick them up for passport control.
So of course the main news was Israel overreacting and basically quarantining a couple of thousand Canadians this week who arrived on airplanes and doing some preventative screening and all the rest of it. While I think that's a good idea to some regards, I do think to actually target individual countries may be an error. I think for mass screening you should do mass screening or not do it at all. I do think anybody with symptoms, regardless of which country they come from, probably should be put into quarantine. But the thing is, what do you do with an airline? If you've travelled on a plane for 4 to 12 hours and somebody on that plane's infected with flu, you can pretty much guarantee most of the passengers are carrying it on themselves and in their hair, and quite a few of them will develop flu later on. And as I keep telling everybody, for about 24 hours or so before you have any symptoms, you're infecting other people.
There's nothing there. If they want to do this, it's fine with me. Like, let them do it. But it's not the most, you know. There are other things they should be looking for instead.
Well, that's it for me. Hopefully there won't be too much to report next week. Just look at some pictures that are going on right now in Toronto. People are starting to get mask crazy again. We ain't seen this since 2003 when we had SARS. Anyway, remember in SHTF, tomorrow will always be worse than today, unless you're prepared. So get prepping. And I do think having a good look at your pandemic preps right now is smart. Doodles!